The phases of a project. So today I'm going to talk about um, how does a project happen? What are the steps, or what are the phases in which an architectural project happens? The phases, there's 6 phases, and they are basically the same whether you're doing a small remodeling or a larger addition, or even building a whole house. And the first phase is pre-design, and that's what happens before we can even start designing. And that's when we do programming, which is gathering information about your wants and your needs, identifying the constraints on the project, doing code research, and creating drawings of the existing conditions. And that's particularly important if you're doing additions or remodeling. After we've gathered all of that information, then we can start what we call schematic design. And schematic design is when we actually do the bulk of the problem solving. We're testing design solutions. We're making sure that that it functions. We're ensuring that your needs are met and that the constraints are being dealt with. And we usually come up with a couple of options during schematic design, because there's always more than one way to solve a problem. And then once you have selected an option, then we move on to the next phase, which is design development. During design development, we refine that first schematic design, and we start adjusting dimensions to make it right. We start thinking about exact sizes of windows. We pick the windows, we pick the doors, we start picking materials, so that we have a better idea of what the house or the structure is really going to be like. And we also think in a more detailed way about the structural concerns and the systems, the electrical and plumbing systems and so on. And once those have all been accounted for, then we move on to construction documents. And construction documents is really about making the blueprints that everybody wants, and documenting all of the decisions that we've made in a format that the building officials and the contractors understand, so that they understand how to build the design that we have been thinking about. During this phase, we also refine the structural conditions and think in a detailed way about the systems, the electrical and plumbing systems. And then when the construction documents are done, we move into what is called the permit and bidding phase. And this is, as you might guess, when we apply for permits and when we put the project out to bid so that we can select a contractor. Now, sometimes the permitting phase needs to be split into 2 parts, one for the planning department and one for the building department. And very often the planning department bidding, or planning department process, will be moved up right after we've finished schematic design, because that process can take, depending on the city where you live, anywhere from 6 weeks to 9 months to get approval for an addition to a house or for a new house or what have you. And so sometimes we split that so that the planning department approval is applied for right after schematic design, and then while that process is going on, we can move forward with design development and construction documents. But that happens it depends on what you're actually building. But when the permit has been granted and the contractor has been selected, then we go into construction, and that's when we build it. And depending on how big your project is, that can be anywhere from 1 month to 6 or 7 months, or even longer to build. But those are the phases of an architectural project: pre-design, schematic design, design development, construction documents, permits, bidding, and construction.